May is here, and with it, our beautiful spring snow blossom tree is in full bloom and has been greeting us with a beautiful floral fragrance every time we walk into the roastery or every time we step outside to drink some coffee and admire the landscape. And the fragrance is a bit like a honeysuckle or a little bit like a jasmine. And it'll probably make its way onto the notes of a upcoming release. But for today, we have our May drops, and let's just jump right in. First up for May, we have from Minas Gerais, Brazil. This is Boa Vista. And this is a little bit of a departure from what we've been putting out over the last several months. We've been really focusing on high intensity, high florality, and high cleanliness coffees. And this is quite a bit different from that, against the grain from what we've been doing. And it's kind of a nice change of pace to come around to something natural process, a yellow catuai, a Brazil coffee, and to just enjoy that departure, right? So it's really jammy, really thick on the palate with great balance and body in there, which is kind of a rarity for what we've been putting out. This is definitely a true light roast coffee. It's really jammy this morning. And playing with all these jammy notes, we've got grape jam, raspberry jam, and almond butter. Almond butter sort of representing the inherent nuttiness that you're going to find in a lot of Brazilian coffees, a lot of catuai varieties like this one. It's a really big taste. The jamminess is presenting really nicely this morning. It's very full, very round, thick on the palate, lovely. And for espresso enjoyers out there, this is a really, really fun coffee for espresso. We were pulling shots just the other day, and at 2.5-ish ratios, a little more standard fare, kind of hybrid turbo shots. It was really nice. Lots of brightness, lots of sweetness to the cup, and that, again, sort of hallmark Brazil nuttiness into the body, creating a really, really nice shot. We want to feature new, interesting coffees here at H&S whenever we can find them, highlighting origins that maybe a lot of folks skip over. A lot of folks see Brazil on the menu and it's just sort of an auto pass for them. But I think that's doing themselves a little bit of a disservice. One, because this is a fantastic coffee. It's really nice. It's got great sweetness to it. Two, because you're limiting yourselves to just a handful of origins, and there's a whole world of coffee, and there's unique tastes to pursue across the whole world. I'm thinking again about this conversation about what is the ceiling on a particular origin. What's the best that they can possibly provide, and how can you score something like this against something like our next coffee and put them on the same playing field? I feel like the ceiling for a lot of these other origins, they just keep getting higher every year. And if you're not keeping track of that, if you're not following that year over year, then you don't get to appreciate the improvement in quality year over year, which is a big thing here at H&S. But when we move to our next coffee, we'll touch on that, and for a lot of year over year purchases that we do. Expose yourselves to origins you're not familiar with, and be surprised and enjoy what they have to offer. A lot of folks will look at the nutty note on this and say, well, it's nutty, and I don't like nutty, and so I'm not going to take an interest in that. Well, and that's sort of an inherent flavor in Brazil, and you have to incorporate that into your taste and into your enjoyment of all these wonderful coffees that come out all over the world. It's a little bit like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I didn't quite want to go all that way with the direction on it for the notes. It's kind of a fun way to look at this coffee. All right, very good. Really jammy, really sweet this morning. Really nice coffee from Brazil. So this was also the Roaster's Choice bag number 1 for the month. So if you're on a single bag plan, this was your coffee this month. A really nice, accessible, approachable coffee with a pretty big window for success in brewing as well, which is something that H&S is not really known for. So, all right, let's move on to our next coffee this month. This is La Papaya, and this is Juan Peña's staple Típica Mesurado washed lot. One of the most famous coffees in all of the world. You can look at this coffee every single year, and it's one of the best out there. It is a staple lot for Juan Peña, and he's mastered everything about this coffee. Just year over year, the improvements become a little bit smaller, but every single year you can count on this coffee to be one of the best to come out of Ecuador. Exceptional sweetness in this cup. It's a beautifully clean cup as well. That sweetness, so interesting with Mejerados, this and Típica Mesurado, is that it's a separate element from the rest, where the sweetness on this Brazil was very much tied into the jammy notes, the grape and the raspberry, where sweetness in this La Papaya is really kind of an independent sensation, and it's separate from the soft stone fruits on the front of the sip, as well as the florality at the end of the sip. It's just kind of this independent element in the middle, and it's very clean, and it's just pure sweetness. It's just so lovely. A beautiful coffee. The florality on the finish is very strong on this one, on this La Papaya. This is our third washed Mesurado coffee to come out this year. And this one I think is a little bit softer on the acidity. It's a little, it's not quite as intense. It's softer stone fruits. We've put apricot as the leading note on here, and I think that's a good representation of that softness. It's not a super intense cup. Looking back at last month's Divino Niño, which was very intense and had a lot of brightness to it and a lot of acidity and tartness with a plum-like note to it. This is quite a bit softer, but that also is opening the door to a big amount of florality into the finish. And it's a pungent florality. I was really hoping that I could draw inspiration from our spring snow blossom tree out here and lean on a honeysuckle or a jasmine-like florality that reminded me of the fragrance coming off this tree, but this is a little more pungent, and I think lily kind of representing that slightly more perfumey, but just a stronger and more pungent florality to it is really apparent to me this morning on this tasting. This is maybe the best that I've tasted it yet. Juan Peña, he's one of the best. His lots are sensational. This is the first of 4 that we have coming out. I'm going to try to be ahead enough on the game to put all 4 of our Juan Peña lots together into a set. This is the staple lot. This is like the introduction to La Papaya, and it's a sensational cup. I'm really impressed with it this morning. Really beautiful. If you are on the 2-bag Roaster's Choice subscription, this is your second bag for the month. And As usual with the second bags in the subscription, it's a coffee that is just a step up from everything else out there. Really, really nice. Okay, for the third drop, non-subscription drop this month, something completely new to me that I have never roasted or tasted much of before. Ooh. This is Patio Bonito, and this is the very first Whoosh Whoosh variety to ever be put on to the H&S menu. And it's the first time I've really experienced a Whoosh Whoosh. I've tried a few in the past, but to go through the whole process of sample evaluation and green analysis and purchasing and then profiling and to come up with this, first time for me, and it was kind of difficult. Whoosh Whoosh is, if I remember correctly, it's based on an Ethiopian landrace varietal, but it's kind of a bigger bean and they're kind of long as well. So the physical act of roasting the coffee was a little bit challenging, being a Colombia coffee, but something that I might want to think about like an Ethiopian landrace in terms of roasting. Two very different approaches when it comes to roasting. One thing for certain is that the outcome on this coffee is very, very intense. Lots of acidity, lots of citric notes to it. And this morning, the mango note, which I have listed in the middle here, full notes are orange, mango, and blackberry. The mango note is really standing up this morning to me. Very bright. This is a punch of acidity, a punch of sweetness. There's not a lot of complexity to this cup. It's pretty singular in its presentation. It's a lot of acidity, it's a lot of citrus, and not much else. So within the citrus realm, some of the tropical fruit realm, there's stuff to explore in there, but it's nothing like our La Papaya here, or really even this Boa Vista, which moves from a jammy sweetness into sort of that nutty finish. This is kind of all citrus, all acidity, and then it ends. Very short finish, big punch of flavor, and then that's kind of it. Ooh. Mango. Mango's really nice on this. The blackberry tartness a little bit there, a little bit in the finish, but I'm just getting a lot of mango, just a big, big punch of mango and orange this morning. I really like this coffee. I like this producer. This is Paola Trujillo. I've been drawn to a number of samples from Paola, and there may be more coffee from this farm hitting the menu in the future. We're looking at a Típica from them as well, and it's really well processed. It's a nice clean cup, lots of intensity to it. Yeah, I don't have a lot of reference for Whoosh Whoosh as a variety. I haven't had enough exposure to that variety to be able to make comparisons to other things out there to see where this sort of fits in, or if this sensation, this experience is typical for a Whoosh Whoosh. So yeah, I don't know if you all have tasted some good Whoosh Whooshes out there. Let me know, and maybe I can go find some to draw some comparisons to. But a really big, intense, lively cup, and pretty singular in its citric, acidic punch. Wow. Let's go back through. Thick, rich coating, jammy. Soft, clean, complex, sweet, and floral. Punchy mango, singular, acidic. Wow, really fun. The Boa Vista, this is a light roast. I'd say this is about as true of a light roast as H&S has put out in quite some time, at least a few years maybe. You're definitely going to taste more development on this coffee compared to any ultralight coffee we've ever put out, and perhaps even more than some of the lights that we've put out this year so far. I'm trying to perhaps make a little more separation between the definitions of light and ultralight here at H&S. It's going to be ready a lot earlier than a lot of H&S coffees. I've got 20 days on here, but I think even earlier than that is probably going to work for this coffee. This morning, I brewed this coffee with the Gabby Gentle recipe. Makes a lot of sense. I would not recommend a high extraction recipe on this coffee. I think you're going to pull too much astringency, too much dryness out. I don't think it has the complexity to explore with high extraction recipes. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for this one. So a 1 to 17 this morning with a fairly coarse grind. I enjoyed the sweetness that came out with that recipe. I would say even lower extractions would also favor this coffee. And espresso, I think, is going to be awesome with this coffee. Like I mentioned, we pulled 1 to 2.5 ratio, 15-second turbo-ish type shots the other day, and they were really nice. That was just the first dial in. We didn't really explore it too much. We just wanted to get something that didn't have any obvious taste defects in the shot, and it was really nice. I bet milk drinks, things like that, are going to also be really excellent with this coffee. And the last thing I'll note on this is that we do have a funk rating for number 1, representing natural funk, because this is a natural processed coffee. Moving on, La Papaya. What a beauty. What a beautiful floral character. This is a coffee with a lot of complexity, a lot of florality, and I recommend a high extraction recipe for this. I used the Gabby Standard this morning. It is a perfect recipe for this coffee. It has a lot of excellent character to it. There's not really anything to fault here. But I will say, with that caveat, you want to rest this coffee out if you're pursuing lower extraction recipes with it. Today, with the Gabby Standard, the 118 high extraction yield, it's tasting brilliant. It's really, really tasting nice. And this is not that far off. We are only 4 days off roast on this one, and I reckon it'll open up a little bit more with more rest. I've got 30 days on this. This might be a 35er day type recommendation. It's certainly a true ultralight in the H&S sense. Okay, and then Patio Bonito. Again, being a coffee that it's having a little bit of a hard time wrapping my head around. I would say on the rest front, this is definitely a 30-day rest, and this could be a 40-day rest type coffee. This morning, it's very singular in what it's giving me, and I'm wondering if it's going to open up more with some more rest. I'm really unsure. I chose the Gabby Standard recipe for this one as well. It is a very light coffee. It's probably the lightest roast from this month's drops, and as such, high extraction recipes, I think, benefit it, and rest is certainly going to benefit it. I'm very curious with 30 days rest what this is going to taste like with lower extraction recipes, 116s, something off the Kinu POB perhaps. Could be quite a lot of fun, very punchy, very clean, very citrus. And to that note, to move it over to espresso as well, I think, but I'm definitely going to wait 30 days before I start thinking about that. Okay, I think that's it for this month, 3-drop month. I think next month is also a 3-drop month. Some more fun stuff coming up. We're going to have another La Papaya. We are going to have a couple of beautiful Colombia coffees as well. So stay tuned for that. And we have so much coming up. We had a huge week this week with arrivals. We had a bunch of Kenyans come in. We had some Panama geishas come in. We had some Colombias come in, and just up and down, some really, really nice stuff coming up. So as always, enjoy yourselves out there, enjoy coffee, enjoy the beautiful weather, and until next time, happy sipping.